we can just move to the next part. So, hello to the internet. My name's Craig Montgomery, and I'm here to sort of talk about nothing again. So I'm doing a stream of consciousness video because I literally sat for about 2 hours this afternoon trying to think of something interesting to talk about, and it was not fruitful. So here I am, just trying to look at, you know, the camera and be inspired by it, because that makes sense. Staring into the void and thinking that something will look back. That's not insanity. What? Had a real busy week. Ain't no rest for the wicked, you know? Man, I am feeling all kinds of uninteresting and, yeah, I'm sorry for you guys. I can do a little haphazard talking on repression, because it's a real light topic, you know, nothing serious to really consider there. But I've been putting a lot of thought into the topic recently, so I've got some things to share. You know what? It's been a minute since we've done a installment of Work That Vocabulary. I'm sorry. I say let's do one of those. And today we'll talk about repression. So what I mean when I say repression is the either conscious choice or just subconscious activity of choosing not to experience an emotion. And so when you have an emotional response to an event, your brain says, no thanks, not dealing with that, and then you just kind of don't feel the emotions. And that immediately feels better in the sense that you don't have to deal with like the negative repercussions of an event. But the thing is that that emotion stays with you. There's this really weird thing of like your body being a sponge, or like, you know, like a memory card on a computer, where it holds on to things, especially emotions. I feel like your brain is the logical part of your experience and yourself. Your body is what I think of as more as the emotional factor. I know that emotions are also processed in your brain. That's where the neurotransmitters are. That's where all of, you know, our consciousness happens. But I think your body has a lot to do with how you're feeling and why you're feeling certain ways. I think that's stored and kind of communicated through your core and your limbs. Like it actually exists here. And so I know for myself personally, I have a lot of issues with not allowing myself to feel angry. I don't enjoy feeling angry, and I often have a hard time not acting out when I let myself feel angry. So I've gotten in a real bad habit of just repressing when I feel upset or angry or furious, and that helps me in the immediate situation control my behavior and make more sound choices about the way that I'm going to respond to things. But it also doesn't honor my own emotional experience, and that kind of like sub-level communicates to myself that my emotional experience is not important. And there's been a lot of like coded messaging that goes through that, and you know, the way that you treat yourself is really important. It tells you a lot about the way you feel about yourself. Meta. So that's something I've been thinking a lot about, because, you know, anger is a normal reaction to situations that upset you, and it's important to find a way to healthily express that and to be able to get that frustration out, hopefully in a productive way. It's not necessarily about finding some way to be aggressive. It's not about finding a way to be aggressive. It's just finding a way to use your discomfort and your displeasure in a situation to try and seek compromise, so that you feel like you're honoring your own wants and needs, rather than just letting a situation happen and walking away saying it didn't matter that much anymore, because that's also kind of telling you to you, me to me, insert Kermit meme, me to me, saying you don't matter, you know, because there is a portion of what we want and what we need that is a piece of our identity. And if we're continuously telling ourselves that those wants and needs don't matter and don't need to be met, then we're also saying you don't matter, and your wants and needs just don't need to be taken into consideration. So that's a real fun, like really light life experience that I've been going through. But repression can happen with any emotion that causes you discomfort, and strangely enough, that could happen in terms of, feeling happy. You could actually be repressing your happiness because you're afraid of it. I've actually gone through that before. I used to feel like anytime something was going really well, I was about to hit a wall and something terrible was going to happen. And I'd have like this really giant buildup of anxiety about it. And so I started not allowing myself to feel too happy because it made me desperately afraid of the fall from that. I couldn't get too high because then I was gonna nosedive, and I didn't know if I was gonna be able to handle hitting the ground from that height. So that's one way that could happen. It can happen with anything. It really, any emotion that you find problematic that is causing you anxiety, or you to act out in certain ways, or something way back from your childhood that somebody teased you about or whatever, you can learn a habit of just repressing that experience. And it's a really bad habit. It's damaging to your psyche and your ability to live your life to the fullest. So it's really important to start unpacking why it's happening, how the act of repressing is serving you, and how you can seek a similar outcome without invalidating your emotional experience, because we are emotional beings for the most part. I would say almost entirely. Humans are emotional. You can't just like live your life as like a floating head, just like spitting out math and science. Like, it's just, that's not how the body or the human experience works, as much as sometimes I would like it to. And my only tip and trick about that is, for one, you can do some journaling. I have found, especially with the things that I find really confusing, minefield-ish type of topics, journaling really helps because it's a nice, safe place to go and explore things, and it helps me brainstorm, I guess. Just get the thoughts out, start putting words together and seeing, what they look and feel like. But then also, I would say for two, really, it's helpful to talk to someone, to express to them what you're struggling through, and why it feels funky, and why you're scared to like maybe stop repressing, blah 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 blah. Not only because it's just nice to let other people into your life, but you may get some really useful feedback from them. It's not like an uncommon experience for us to feel uncomfortable with feeling. So I think we all have some experience with the act of like dampening our emotional response to stuff. If you've gone through your life without being told that you're dramatic or that you are overreacting, what are you doing? How are you doing it? I mean, like, I don't get that. But that might just be because I'm really dramatic. Anyway, I think that's enough babbling. It's really gross and rainy and cold outside, and I'm sad about it, so I'm gonna go cuddle my dog and feel better, because I have a dog. And that's really all life is about. So. Wood.